Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Malice in the Mitten. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with my bestie, Christine Mulligan. Hey, Christine.
Hey, Trace. Hey, everyone. What are we getting into today? I cannot wait. It's so close to our show. But anyway, I digress. Tell me about today.
I know, it's hard for me to sit on that too because I'm like, oh my God, like we're recording today, it's Sunday. I'm like, 6 days. 6 more days. Oh my God. I'm very excited. It's kind of giving me the willies though.
I know. It's exciting. It's fun. And I'm going to be up in Michigan with you. So that's half of the excitement.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know.
But I digress.
I know.
What's going on for today? What are we doing today? What are we talking about?
All right, we're going to refocus. All right, well, my favorite time of the year is quickly approaching. And right now, we had just had a cold front push through, and it feels like fall. Nighttime temperatures around 40s, 50s, daytimes in the 60s this week, so you're going to miss that. But when like this past week, past couple of days, it's been pretty chilly. And it gets me all in the fall and Halloween vibe. But what I'm going to tell you about today happened around Halloween, and it started off fun, but that's not how it ended at all. Today's story was researched and written by Rebecca Hiers. So thank you, Rebecca. Now let's get into it. This is season 8, episode 26. She just wanted to go home. The murder of Chelsea Bruck. She just wanted to go home. What had started as a fun night with friends ended with her stranded, alone, without money, a phone, or a jacket. It was 3:15 a.m. She was injured. She was cold. And she was crying. Someone finally offered to help, and he would do everything but take her home. Now, who doesn't love Halloween? The cool fall air, the gathering of friends at costume parties, the creativity involved in the parties and costumes, bonfires and food, time with friends. It's a wonderful time of the year. And as I mentioned, it's my favorite. One person that loved Halloween was Mike Williams, also known as Big Mike. Every year, Big Mike threw the Halloween party to end all Halloween parties. His mother had a farmhouse that was relatively secluded, so noise was never an issue. There were farm fields surrounding the home that were perfect for the type of party he threw. The parties featured multiple live bands, booze, costume contests, fireball twirling, and a 40-foot bonfire. That sounds like one hell of a party to me. In fact, it actually sounds like a party I went to one time. He also hired security. People came from all around the area of Freeport Township in Monroe, Michigan to attend one of these epic parties. You didn't need to know Big Mike to go. You just had to know how to get there. And I'm imagining it's right out on a country road on a 2-track driveway. Yeah, those are fun. Maybe even driving right through a cornfield.
Cornfield parties. They're always crazy. They never end up good.
I know. There's always some shit about to go down.
There's always some crazy stuff happens at a cornfield party.
Yeah. All right, now in the year of 2014, Big Mike was 31 and had been having these amazing parties since he graduated high school. People that planned on going to the party would make their own costumes months in advance in the hopes that they would win the grand prize. Now, estimates vary on how many people attended his party in 2014. Some are as low as 500 people, but Big Mike and others, well, they estimated it was closer to 1,000 people. No wonder he had security, right? That's nuts.
That is a lot of people, and it's a good thing he had security, but chances are that security wasn't very effective in a cornfield. Just saying.
Just saying, right? Hopefully they have a train car out there. They can throw people in it. You're out of control. Boom, shut the door.
A little makeshift jail. Okay, now we're getting crazy.
Hey, man, if you're going to do it, right?
Okay.
All right, now, one of the people looking forward to the party was 22-year-old Chelsea Bruck. Chelsea lived in a tiny town of Maybe. Yeah, you heard that right, Maybe.
The town is called Maybe?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's a town, maybe it's not.
Right. Who knows?
The town called Maybe and a city called I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It cracks me up. Never heard of it before. Anyway, Chelsea worked as a hostess at Olga's Kitchen. Now, for us Michiganders, we know what Olga's is. But for those of you who do not live here in Michigan, Olga's Kitchen is an American chain of Greek American family restaurants founded in 1970 by Olga Loizan. And by the way, their Olga bread is outstanding. Chelsea planned on attending Monroe Community College and getting her degree in the culinary field. Born July 28, 1992, she was the youngest of 5 children and the last Bruck child still living at home. She was going to the party with her friend and co-worker, Laura Taylor. Chelsea didn't drive. She didn't even have a driver's license. So the plan was for Chelsea to go with Laura, and knowing that alcohol would be involved and that they would be out quite late, she had a plan to spend the night with some of her friends. Chelsea worked for months on her costume, deciding to go as Poison Ivy from the popular Batman movies. Covering green leggings and a leotard top with plastic leaves she hand-sewn onto them. She also purchased a purple and red wig to complete her outfit. She carried a gallon bottle of wine with a label that said Poison as her finishing touch. She was really hoping that this year she would be the one to take first place in the costume contest at Big Mike's Halloween party. The 2 girls arrived at the party about 10 p.m. 2 large tents had been set up and the bands were already playing as they arrived. The festivities were in full swing as the party started at noon. And in the crush of people, they were soon separated. Now that right there drives me nuts. Chelsea had left her wallet, cell phone, and overnight bag in Laura's car, as her costume did not have pockets, and she was afraid of losing them. And what fun is a party if you had to deal with all that? I would have at least put my phone in my bra, though, okay?
Yeah, I totally would have had stuff in my undies somewhere. But I'm assuming this is a young girl. It was probably a scant costume at that.
Yeah, you know that shit was tight.
Yeah.
But she's got leaves on it, so she could hide it. You know, but yeah, never go anywhere without your phone, ladies. That's nuts.
Should have made a leaf pocket.
Yeah, so a leaf pocket. What the hell?
Got a little acorn purse.
Oh, look at you. There were 8 heavy metal bands, including Big Mike's, performing that night, and the party atmosphere was more concert-like than spooky. Chelsea had other friends at the party, but in a crowd this big, she never saw any of them. Now, Laura had to leave, but figured that since Chelsea knew other people at the party, she would be okay and find another way home.
No. Mm-mm. No. That is a crappy friend.
Yeah, rule 101, ladies, right? Never leave your girlfriend. What the hell?
Yeah, no. They shouldn't have been okay with losing her right away, too. So forget about leaving. Mm-mm.
How the hell?
Not any of that.
I would have screamed your name.
My spidey senses are thinking, not good thing.
I know. It gives you a big butt pucker.
I don't know where you're going to go with this. I imagine where you're going to go with this. But I'm already thinking that the friends are on the list. Okay?
Okay. All right. Well, let's get back to the story and find out. So Laura took Chelsea's wallet, phone, and bag of clothes out of her car and gave them to a mutual friend and co-worker, Becky Brinson before she left around 1 a.m. But soon, Becky had to leave, and since she couldn't find Chelsea in the huge crowd of people, she took Chelsea's things home with her. She called Chelsea's house the next day, October 26th, to let her know that she had her things and she could come and pick them up. But later that night, Chelsea's sister called her back to let her know Chelsea hadn't come home. The two figured that Chelsea had spent the night with a friend and would be home soon, but because Becky had her phone, Chelsea wasn't able to call and let anybody know, which all made sense to them why they didn't hear from her. So no flags here, just
flags all over the place. Flags all over the place. What's going on?
all over. So they just figured they would hear or see from her soon enough later that day, which was a Sunday. At the party, Chelsea had been drinking that cheap wine from her gallon-sized bottle and was on her way to being drunk, according to some reports. Other people later stated she had not been drinking. At approximately 12:45 in the morning, she walked into a wooden post, gashing her head and nose. And after the injury, the fun had gone right out of the party for Chelsea, and she just wanted to get home. But she had no money, no cell phone, and the night was getting quite cold. And of course, her extra clothes that she had packed were with Becky. When Chelsea approached Gavin Hewlett at a party, she was crying and asked to use his phone at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you remember, this is when her friend Ann Ride had left the party. She told Gavin that she was stranded and needed to find a way home. Now, around 2:30 in the morning, she approached Alexandria Fraunhofer and asked to use her phone, and she was still crying. At that time, she was able to reach her friend Penny Watkins, but Penny had already left the party and was already home in bed. And she was in no condition to drive back to the secluded countryside to pick her up. Chelsea was again seen around 3:15 in the morning in a parking lot. So they must have had like an area of cars to park there. And as others had seen her at the party, she was crying. Still, no ride home. And that right there pisses me off. I mean, how many people saw her crying with her telling them she was stranded and needed a ride home? And what, nobody offered?
Anything?
I know.
And who was she calling when she borrowed all these people's phones?
She called this one chick, I guess. I mean, think about it. To be honest, I don't even know Todd's number by heart. That's a problem, right? All my numbers are in my cell phone. It's not like back in the good old days when we were kids and we had to poke in those numbers, right? Punch them in or use good old rotary. I used to have so many numbers memorized. Not anymore.
True story.
That's a problem.
Yeah, but what the problem is she has a gashed forehead and nose, and she's running around with a bloody face, crying, and no one, nowhere, at no time, decided this chick might need some help?
Yeah, it's nuts.
What's wrong with these Michiganders, my friend?
I don't know. It's none of the friends I know. My friends would at least get you home or just say, you know what, here, just go lay down. We'll get you home in the morning. Something. It's like they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So there's a lot of red flags. But if she wasn't drunk, why would she be roaming around with a gashed face and crying if she wasn't drunk? Like, so the drinking and the not drinking, that's a red flag for me as well, that people were saying she wasn't drinking. Because it totally would make sense if she went with a jug of juice to a party that she planned on getting drunk at. She was probably inebriated.
She had a jug of juice. You know damn well she was drinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like all those college kids with those jugs. I think that's in Boston or something. They have this jug party. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe one of our listeners will remind us what it's called. But it's like a whole thing, and they go and bring their own gallons of hooch. And they get arrested for it and everything. The other thing is that she had a gallon of hooch. She was at least trying to imbibe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And you know what?
So I'm interested. Do you get back to whether or not the drinking was an issue or not drinking?
No.
Do you get back to that, or that was just okay?
Nope, that was just a blip. But I'm all about taking your own jug of hooch, right? You don't want to be taking any alcohol from anybody else.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, stay safe. Drink your own hooch. I love that word. That's fun. Way better than saying booze. All right. Now, at this point, it became apparent to her that walking the 8 miles home was the only viable option. Now, upon reaching this conclusion, she removed her wig and began her journey. As she proceeded, a vehicle stopped beside her. Chelsea entered the car and departed into the night. And that was the last time Chelsea was seen. When Chelsea didn't come home on Sunday the 26th, her family figured she had spent the night somewhere and had been unable to contact them, like we mentioned. However, when she hadn't returned by the 27th, they knew something was wrong and immediately contacted the police. A search was launched. The police, however, were faced with a seemingly impossible task. There were no clues or evidence left at the site of the party. With people in costume and just the sheer volume of people, it was impossible to know who exactly was there. Many stayed in costume all night, never revealing who they were. People were drunk and just couldn't remember details. I get it. Makes sense. Big Mike was interviewed, but while he knew most of the people that attended, he didn't know everyone, and he didn't know Chelsea. So even if he had seen her, he didn't know who she was. He was also quite busy on stage with his band, so to greet and know everyone that came to the party would have been impossible for him to do. On the 27th, several individuals contacted Big Mike via text, phone calls, leaving messages to inquire about Chelsea's whereabouts, but he was unaware of her situation. Concerned that something might have occurred, it was about 2 p.m. when he and his dog began searching the fields surrounding the house, considering the possibility that she had become incapacitated and could have been lying around unnoticed. Partway into his search, his dog stepped on a fox trap and was injured, so he had to return home. Now, Leanda Bruck, Chelsea's mom, drove out to the farm, demanding she be allowed to search. She arrived just as Big Mike came back to the house with his dog, and both Mike and the dog were covered in blood. Telling her that he had to get the dog to the vet, he gave her permission to search while he was gone. And when he returned, there were about 30 people combing through his property. The Bruck family immediately stated they believed Big Mike was the one responsible for Chelsea going missing. They accused him of having her tied up in his basement. Big Mike refused to take a polygraph or to allow his house to be searched, which made him look even more guilty to people. Now that's dumb. Why wouldn't he allow that? And why wouldn't he take a stupid polygraph test?
True, but chances are, Big Mike, okay, I'm gonna just give him a stereotype for a second just because I have no idea who he is. But Big Mike likes a big party, sings or does something in a band. Chances are maybe he's got a little marijuana everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he had other things that he was trying to hide, but that had nothing to do with murder.
Right.
Maybe he had a bunch of other stuff that he was afraid of being pinched for.
Truth.
So there's a possibility, but also there's also another possibility. He's a crazy, partying guy that might have gotten a little bit out of hand with a girl that was stuck on his property. And, it could have went either way. I get their curiosity, but, you also got to give way to maybe he had his own shit going on that he was like, hey, stop looking in my curtains.
Right. And I didn't even think of that point that you brought up, that maybe because in 2014.
Yeah, it wasn't legal in Michigan to smoke that much stuff.
It wasn't legal at all back then.
I'm just assuming,
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. He's probably got his fair share of illegal stuff there. Illegal in the way of, naughty, not illegal in the way of murderous.
Agreed. Yeah, so I get it.
It's just a guess, though. I don't know. We get too deep into Big Mike yet.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Here, All right, here we go. Police later obtained a search warrant, searched the house and grounds, and found nothing. But that didn't matter to anyone. Big Mike reported people flying drones around his farm searching for Chelsea and coming onto the farm at night and searching. The drones would even fly right up to the windows of his house, and police were interested in his fire pit and dug it up multiple times. The focus was all on him. But they could never find any evidence to tie him to Chelsea's disappearance. Now, in a weird twist of fate, Chelsea's older sister, wait to hear this, her older sister Cassandra was friends with twin sisters Julia and Jennifer Niswender. Julia had been attacked and murdered in 2012 in her Ypsilanti apartment. Now, her murder was still unsolved. Online armchair sleuths wondered, could the two cases be connected, as the two towns are only approximately 30 minutes apart, and the sisters were friends. Now, I can see why people would put that together for sure. I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah, that poor older sister has a really twisted, close fate with murder.
Yeah, I would feel a little cursed, to be honest.
That's an unlucky connection.
Yeah, that's going to turn someone into a hermit, like right now. Like, nope, I'm not leaving my house.
Yeah.
The tiny town of Maybe has a population of under 600 people. It's pretty tiny. But the people have warm hearts, and on the evening of November 3rd, a vigil was held to bring attention to the case. The family searched on their own and put flyers up everywhere. Now, to be exact, these people distributed over 1 million flyers. That's crazy. I mean, crazy good. Good for them. But 1 million?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like definitely more than a tree.
It's every tree in your neighborhood, your house, your windows, your car. They plastered. Yeah, they plastered this shit everywhere, and good for them. I would have done the same.
Yeah.
No stone left unturned. And the family was also offering a reward. Now, media attention brought in many tips that led to many arrests, but none in conjunction with Chelsea's disappearance. One tip said to talk to a man named Harlan Bird. When police contacted Harlan, he said the night of the party, he saw some men harassing Chelsea in the parking lot. He said he chased them away, put Chelsea in a random truck, and left her there. He said he came back a few minutes later to find her gone. He said she had a bloody nose and was crying. As police pointed out holes in his story, he admitted he lied so that he could receive credit for helping solve a mystery. And so he was arrested for lying to the police. And I will never understand why people do that. Is it just to get 15 minutes of fame? I mean, it's a lie, dude. You're going to get busted, dumbass.
Well, he probably didn't think he was going to get busted. It's a big party with 500 or so people roaming around. He just figured, what's the difference between saying that he helped a girl do that with a bloody nose and if it was Chelsea or not? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that was a stupid lie, but
yeah.
No, how deep did his lie go? It wasn't, he put it there and left it there. So it's like no different than being like, oh yeah, I seen her talking to so-and-so, and you didn't, just because you wanted to be involved in all the hullabaloo. You said something that you thought was innocuous. So I don't know. I mean, what did his lie hinder?
Nothing, except for it wastes time. It's time waster.
Yeah, wasting time. Yes.
Yeah.
Wasting time, but he just wanted to be part of the party. No pun intended.
Right, exactly. Now, another tip called in was from Carrie Carr. Now, she lived in Ohio. She stated that she was terrified of her ex-boyfriend as he had admitted to killing Chelsea. She told the police that if they just questioned him, he would know that she told him and would come back and kill her for telling. So after speaking to the ex-boyfriend, it was quickly determined that she was lying to punish her ex. So she too was arrested for lying to police. What the hell?
Oh my God. She just wanted to make a mess for her ex-boyfriend. She is a trauma drama llama.
Right?
That's a trauma drama llama. That girl's crazy.
Vindictive. Unreal. All right, now some people called in to say that they had seen Chelsea talking to an unknown man and they had seen her get in his car. Now, a composite sketch was released, but the man remained unidentified, and the case, well, that went cold. Sometimes spring starts early in Michigan, or even if the weather isn't perfect for being outdoors, you just got to get outside. Cabin fever here is a real thing, for sure. March 22nd, 2015, Shirley Ritzlaff decided her yard needed some sprucing up. It was just one of those days. Winter is on its way out. The promise of warmer weather teased in the air. While out puttering near her ditch, she found a shoe. Now, since she lived less than 3 miles from Big Mike's and she had heard about Chelsea, she reported this to the police. The shoe, indeed, well, that turned out to be Chelsea's. A week later, on April 5th, 2 men were doing things they shouldn't have been doing in an abandoned building off Peters Road and the railroad tracks in Flat Rock. Now, Flat Rock is about 16 miles northeast of Mabee. Eric Kassab, one of the men, found a poison ivy costume and wig. It wasn't until later that Eric would learn the significance of his find. While watching the news, he learned that a young girl in the exact costume he had found was missing. As he had picked up the costume, he feared his DNA would be on it, and he would be charged with her disappearance. But he overcame his reluctance and eventually called the police, and I'm like, thank God. When police retrieved the costume, they found the crotch was ripped out and the leotard top, its straps were like really all twisted. And it was covered in blood. It was immediately bagged and sent for DNA testing. Interestingly, Harlan Bird, the man who said he lied to the police to try to be a hero, lived within eyesight of the building where the costume was found. He was brought in again for questioning, but he stood by his earlier story that he had lied the first time. He did take a polygraph and passed. I thought it was him. Along with the weather, things were warming up in the Bruck case. On April 24th in Ash Township, about 7 miles from Shirley's house, farmer John Marcone was getting ready to construct a building on his undeveloped farm. As he and his crew began to clear the area, they found the skeletonized remains of a body hidden under a log. Now, that log weighed about 125 pounds and was sitting on the chest and face area of the skeleton. Immediately calling the police, the remains were soon identified as those of Chelsea Bruck. For the family, the wondering what had happened part of their nightmare was over, and now the how it happened part began. The DNA from the costume had come back with a match, and in 2015, laws changed here in Michigan so that if you were suspected of a felony crime, your DNA could be taken. You no longer had to be convicted of a crime for that to occur. Now, we talked about this law where all convicted felons must give their DNA, and I freaking love that. Get them in the database. The match was to a person that wasn't even on the police radar. Whose DNA was it, you were wondering? Well, it belonged to 28-year-old Daniel Clay. Now, Clay had been arrested for larceny, but he had later been released. Now, at that time, his DNA had been obtained. Daniel was the ex-boyfriend of Jessica Preibel, a friend of Chelsea's, and he had attended Big Mike's party. Now, he is not the ex-boyfriend that we talked about earlier in the story. That's someone else. Daniel had some unpaid child support, so when he was arrested, he was told that that was why they brought him in. After talking about the child support for a while, detectives brought up the Halloween party at Big Mike's. Daniel had a few different stories to tell police that night. First, he claimed he hadn't gone to the party and he had no idea who Chelsea even was. He claimed the only reason he knew anything about her was due to the heavy media coverage. Then, he claimed he did go to the party, but never saw Chelsea. And then, he admitted he did know her and thought he may have talked to her at the party, but he wasn't sure. Then he told police he had a consensual sexual encounter with a girl that he didn't know who was dressed like Chelsea had been that night as Poison Ivy. In an effort to trick him into confessing, police told Daniel Chelsea had brittle bone disease, a disease where bones can break easily. They told him her bones could break with something as simple as a trip or a fall. It wouldn't take much force to shatter her bones. Well, Daniel believed their story and said that when he left the party, he saw Chelsea walking down the road. He pulled over and offered her a ride home. She agreed and got into his car. Now that we know. They drove down the road for a bit, then pulled over. The two began having rough consensual sex, where she began to bite and smack him. She also demanded he choke her. Being the obliging sex partner that he was, he did. He said after a few seconds, maybe 30, she quit moving. So he attempted to perform CPR to revive her, which didn't work. In a panic, he drove around with her body in the car. Not knowing what else to do, he pulled over at an isolated area and buried her. He said it was an accident.
Oh my God. So they lulled him into thinking, hey, listen, if you would have broken all her bones, it would have been an accident and we can work with you with that. And then he just basically told them the story, thinking that the brittle bone disease was going to help him from being a murderer. What the hell? He's a dumb kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb. It's so dumb to a level I can't even understand.
Exactly. We got to come up with a term for that dumb level. What the hell? He's like, sweet,
God.
I'm home free. It wasn't my fault. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he had already told fucking 5 lies before that. So what the hell? What a dumb guy. Oh my God. But anyway, I'm glad he's caught, but
Yeah.
the way they caught him, he's like a level of dumb I don't even understand. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Dumb Daniel, DD.
I'm blown away. Like, wait, what?
I know.
Okay.
I love dumb people, though, because for this very reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now, Daniel was immediately arrested and charged him with first-degree murder. Now, at the trial in 2017, it came out that most of his story was fake. It was believed that he had recognized Chelsea walking down the road and offered her a ride, which she accepted, but called the rest of his story a lie. At trial, the medical examiner pointed out that death by strangulation can take up to 3 minutes. In fact, I think it can even take up to 10. Not the 20 to 30 seconds he claimed to have performed the act on her. The straps and crotch area of her costume were ripped and bloodied, with blood being found inside the costume. The chances of this happening in a bout of consensual activity were pretty low. From the state of the bones, it had been determined that she had been beaten in the face severely enough to fracture her jaw in 2 places. She also had broken eye sockets and chipped teeth. The head wounds were determined to be the cause of her death. They believed he sexually assaulted her, and you all know I have to say that instead of the R word, which drives me nuts. Then he beat her to death to silence her. A forensic anthropologist testified it was highly unlikely that her facial injuries came from being dropped after she died, as he would claim. His own expert testified that she died by homicide. Now, being dumb Daniel, he testified on his behalf at the trial. He had already admitted to killing her when he said that he strangled her. He claimed the head injuries were a result of him slamming her head accidentally on the door after she died, and then when he dragged her to where he dumped her. He said he may have dropped her a few times. He thought maybe a log had fallen on her face as he dragged her through the woods. He had no explanation for the bloodied, torn, and twisted costume. When they ran his DNA for his felony that tied him to the murder of Chelsea, they also received a hit for a match from an unsolved break-in and sexual assault, again the R word, here in June of 2016 in Monroe, Michigan. Daniel went to trial for this case as well, and when it came time to sentence Daniel in this case, the judge said this, and I quote, "This was a brutal rape. It was degrading. It was dehumanizing, Mr. Clay. You're just an opportunist and a predator. You're a liar, and now you are a serial rapist." For the June 2016 break-in and sexual assault, he was sentenced to 40 to 75 years in addition to the life sentence he received in the murder of Chelsea Bruck. For hiding the body, he was sentenced to 40 to 60 months. Now, he has no chance of parole. He now spends his days at the Macomb County Correctional Facility, living under the prisoner number 372515. Now, according to a search, Big Mike died May 9th of 2022 after a battle with cancer, but no definitive obituary could be found during Rebecca's research. She also couldn't find any further information if he had thrown another Halloween bash after the 2014 party. You know, the one where Chelsea had gone to. Big Mike did state that there would not be a party in 2015. The important takeaway from this story is, if you go to a party or any event in a group or with one person, leave the same way, please. Do not assume that your friends will find a safe way home. Chelsea's murder was solved by the chance discovery of her costume and the DNA evidence found on it. The discovery of the body was also by chance. Had John McCone decided to build elsewhere on his farm, her body probably would not have been found either. Chelsea would still be a missing person. If your plans do change, make sure that you let your loved ones know as soon as you can, and always have your damn phone on your person.
Yeah, this is bananas. All right, and remember these rules, especially when you're going to a party with your friends, your other girlfriends. You never want to run into a dumb, dangerous Daniel.
Ever.
And dumb, dangerous Daniel is going to be in jail for the rest of his life, right? Is that what you said? No eligibility for parole?
Nope, he's going nowhere. He's going to live out his life behind bars. And good.
And did they solve that murder where the girl got sexually assaulted in her apartment? Did they maybe possibly connect it to dumb, dangerous Daniel also?
Yeah, he was connected. He got extra time for that.
So that was the twin sister thing?
Oh, the twin? No, that was completely someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think sadly that the twin sister, that's still unsolved. They got him on too. Yep.
So, double dumb Daniel. Okay.
Double dumb Daniel's doing double bubble time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, what do you think about this? What do you think about if we did a missing in the mitten spot for the show? Right? Let's think about it. There's a lot of older...
I hate that there's so many missing people in the mitten.
Oh, well, there's a lot of forests up here. A lot of big lakes. Going up north and you're up in the UP, think about it. You've got all the copper mines. You got all the mines are real deep, full of water.
People just go missing.
People go missing. And honestly, when you have a missing person over the age of 18, sometimes you're just not being taken seriously. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a thought. When we read these stories, I mean, even though we have laughter and stuff like that, that's our coping mechanism. As critical care nurses, it's heavy shit. We've got to find a way to lighten it up a little bit, or else how could we keep doing it? But, I always try to put myself in these families' positions, and I think about my girls, and I'm thinking, I don't even know how I could function if I couldn't find my kids, and nobody takes me seriously. And as a mom or a family member, you know in the pit of your stomach when something isn't right. and you feel helpless. So I don't know, just something I was thinking of. So if this is a situation where you or someone you know is in this situation, you can always email us at maliceinthemitten@gmail.com. I would need to talk to you so you can get some details, but I think we should do whatever it takes to help find people. We've got a lot of listeners here in the Mitten.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The more eyes, the better.
Yep.
So anyway, if you guys found this story informational, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And if you are listening from a platform that lets you give us a review, please do. We appreciate you spending your time with us. As always, thank you for listening. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, chat up at the hair salon and nail salon. Women, ladies, let's go. Shout it on the mountaintops. We got a great podcast here. You don't want to miss it. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week. And we will see you not only on Wednesday for Round Robin, we're going to see you on Saturday for our live show. Oh, yeah. And with that being said, we are actually going to take our first break from doing the show. We have not had a break in a year and a half. But what I'm going to do in the interim is I'm going to still have posts that will air on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm just going to repost some of our older shows that people really liked. So you guys are still going to get us, but while you're getting the older shows, we are going to actually be taking a much needed 2-week break. What do you think about that, Christine?
Sounds good.
All right. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday for Round Robin. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Fog rolls in from the Great Lake shore. Whispers of secrets and small town lore. Snow hides the truth where the pine trees bend. Some stories never reach their end. Murder and mayhem, death and despair. Footsteps are fading, but danger's still there.